Like other genetic tests, direct-to-consumer, abbreviated DTC genetic testing, looks for variation in a person's genome, which consists of deoxyribonucleic acid, or DNA, and is organized into genes. Slight differences in DNA sequences account for some of the variation seen in human traits and susceptibility to certain diseases. Changes in the DNA sequence are caused by mutation and are called genetic variants. In human disease, both environmental and genetic factors are important, and there are two general ways genetics can play a role. For some diseases, single variants in single genes can have a very large impact, meaning they can actually cause a disease all on their own. These are called monogenic diseases and are usually quite rare. Monogenic diseases run in families in predictable patterns and tend to have multiple affected members and earlier age of disease. Monogenic conditions are important to recognize since medical management guidelines can greatly reduce morbidity and mortality. On the other hand, the causes of most common health conditions are more complex and influenced not only by lifestyle and the environment, but by many different genes with many common variants. The term polygenic is used to describe the genetic component of these conditions. In complex conditions, each individual genetic variant has a very small effect, but when taken together, they can have a cumulative, measurable impact on risk. So for monogenic diseases, variants in a single gene are enough to cause disease. The same variant gets passed down through a family but can be expressed differently in different members, and the same disease can be caused by different variants in different genes in different families. Complex conditions like high cholesterol cluster in families but don't follow a specific inheritance pattern. The genetic component, again, is called polygenic, referring to the additive effect of hundreds to thousands of variants in many different genes. Population-based studies called genome-wide association studies, or GWAS, can help determine the relative contributions of variants by identifying variants that are more common in the genomes of affected individuals compared to unaffected. Genetic testing for polygenic variants provides a polygenic score or relative risk of developing the condition. This information can be used to encourage healthy lifestyle choices and, in some cases, earlier screening or closer monitoring. DTC genetic tests can include results pertaining to both monogenic and polygenic conditions. Understanding the clinical relevance of each type of result is key because they are not equal in their implications for disease risk. It's also important to consider family health information in the context of DTC genetic testing. Although DTC tests can include important monogenic disease variants, clinical testing through a healthcare provider tends to be more comprehensive and therefore more informative for families suspected of having a monogenic disease.